I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Excited to have you here. I think everyone, I mean, the numbers are going up as you speak, so I feel like you're
Oh,
drawing it.
really? How many people are we joined by today?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we already have had a couple of people, staff members, say how many people they're screening it to. So we've got one school screening it to 11 students and three staff, another with 20 students. So there is currently nearly 60 watching in the chat, but that's not a reflection on how many people are actually watching, because that's just the number of, I guess, schools that have joined. So you are.
Wow. Hi, guys.
And then obviously there'll be more on the YouTube afterwards, so people will be watching on catch up. Okay, so do you want to start by introducing yourself? Tell us who you are, what you do, and what is youth music, please?
So I'm Talia Andrea. I am Youth Music's NextGen community producer. So that means I oversee the program of kind of events and opportunities for 18 to 30-year-olds who want to work in the music industry. And that could be any role in the music industry. It could be artists, it could be producers, it could be A&Rs, or even like sound engineers, promoters, literally anything you want to do in the music industry. We are kind of a home for that. So I oversee that program. And in terms of what youth music does, we offer support for young people in music around the UK. So basically, we offer support to individuals. So that could be young people looking for funding for their projects. So we do have a NextGen Fund where we give money to young people directly, but we also have organizational funds. So where we give money to organizations who then fund young people. So we really, yeah, have a huge network of young people across the country who we're involved with. And yeah, hope that some of you will be part of this network.
Absolutely. I mean, you'll be talking to a lot of people, I think, who'll be fascinated by the fact that you're giving money out. I mean, that's amazing. It's a way to draw people in. And also, you guys do a lot of like creating reports. You do a lot of kind of research as well, don't you, around what the landscape is like for young people entering the space?
Yeah, exactly. We've just kind of commissioned a report called Industry Connect, which is thinking about how we bridge the gap between music education and music careers. And previous to that, we did a report called the Song Report, which is short for Sounds of the Next Generation, where we look at how young people consume music, how what really engages young people in music, and how we can turn that into like practicable things that people can do to make music careers easier to access for young people. So we do a lot of research into that, and yeah, it's a really exciting space and really dynamic. I feel like in my job, like no 2 days are the same, really. So yeah, super exciting.
Love that. So there is a resources spreadsheet that I have shared with everyone, and I will be including those reports in the report section. So all of the staff members and students, if they're interested, can keep up to date with what you are publishing and what you found. Um, okay, so yes, tell us a quick recap of your own journey getting into, I guess, what you do, because you are in the music industry, but it's just a kind of more educational side of the music industry. So it's interesting to know how you got your foot in the door.
Yeah, so I suppose my current role is quite geared towards events. So I'll kind of go back all the way back to when I started as a university student. So I studied comparative literature at university, which is nothing to do with music. And I kind of want to make that point because I think a lot of people are daunted by the idea of not studying something that they want to go into. But I studied literature, and then in my first year of university, I started writing for my student arts and culture magazine. And then I became the music editor, and then I became the editor in chief. So I kind of had a background in music journalism, even though it was like very voluntary. It was just something that I did for fun. And in my second year of university, I applied for Youth Music's NextGen Fund. So before I started working for Youth Music, I was part of their kind of ecosystem because I'd been given the money to launch a project, which is called FEMMESTIVAL, which is like an all-female music festival. So I used that funding to launch that festival because I really wanted events experience. And I think very often in the music industry, people again can feel daunted by the fact that people aren't kind of giving them experience. It's very difficult to get like your first especially in the live space. I think if you have no experience, people kind of maybe are hesitant to trust you to take on like a huge event. So sometimes you just kind of do things yourself. And so that's what I did. I launched FemCivil, and then once I finished my grant project, that was July last year, and my role at Youth Music opened in July also. So as soon as I kind of came out of the grant, they'd opened the role for the Next Gen Community Producer, and so I applied for that with the experience that I'd gotten from my own kind of events, from journalism, and from just running projects. I think would probably be my top tip in that sense. Like, just think about what area of the music industry you want to go into, and nothing that you do has to be directly related, but like think about the soft skills that they're going to give you, and like how they're gonna how you can kind of spin that to actually put into the role that you want to do. So, yeah, that's a whistle stop tour into how I got into my role.
I love that. And did you know when you were like at school choosing, I guess, kind of your a university subject, did you have any idea or did it come into your mind that the events industry in the music industry was even a thing?
Honestly, I don't think so. I mean, I always loved music, but I never perceived music as a career because I didn't realize how many jobs there were available. And it's something I hear people say all the time, especially young people that I work with nowadays. People don't realize there are so many different jobs like distribution, there's licensing, there's sync, there's ticketing, even you could work for a ticketing platform. So like there are just a lot of jobs that actually don't involve being a musician. But when I think of the music industry, a lot of people think it's the performance aspect. So I don't think I ever actually considered it, which is part of the reason why I studied literature, because at the time English was my best subject. So I kind of thought of it in that way. And then I discovered that I could kind of turn something I was actually very passionate about into a career because I wasn't really thinking about the like the behind the scenes aspect of it. And I kind of want to emphasize that the music industry is such a huge industry that you can really work in any part of it.
Absolutely. That is such an important takeaway. And that is one of the big things that we want people to take away from this week is that, you know, you might think that there's only one or two jobs in each industry. There are literally hundreds, thousands available. Okay, actually, with that topic in mind, what do you think is the most underrated area of the music industry or overlooked?
Oh, that's really interesting. I think I suppose it could be just really anything behind the scenes. Like I said, like ticketing, for example. You don't I feel like the things that you use functionally day to day are often the things that you don't think there are teams behind because you're just so used to using it that you it doesn't occur to you maybe that there's a team behind it and that it's a product. So ticketing platforms are a really interesting one for me. I think things like tour managers or like sound engineers and the whole like design like set design and stuff like that, like for everything that happens in the music industry there's someone behind it. So I feel like anything can really be a job and that it's so creative, like there are so many different aspects to it that you could have two roles that are very similar but like slightly different and they'll both be in the same company. So I think that's a really interesting question, but I guess it depends on what you use day to day and what you might not consider exists. But yeah, maybe just think about like for every artist, I've been told that for every artist that you see, there's like 20 people behind them. Like every big artist, there's like 20 people behind that campaign. There's like the advertiser, there's their agent, the manager. Like there's so many different people that are there, but all you see is the artist. So I guess I would encourage people to think about that. Even just the makeup artist, like there's someone there doing their makeup whenever they perform. So there's really just so many people involved.
I love that. No, it's so true. And okay, so your, I guess, kind of experience in events, what stuff, what skills, what knowledge do you think that the young people watching could start brushing up on now in order to be able to, I guess, be successful in your role and your space?
Yeah, that's super interesting as well because I think I now I kind of look back at where I started and I think a lot about what's changed within me, I guess, in the last few years of going from like part-time to full-time. And I think one thing I would encourage people to kind of really I feel like people can often feel discouraged by the music industry. It can feel difficult to get into, and it can feel like you get a lot of rejection. Um, and I think, I suppose maybe a lot of people have said it already, but like, don't feel like rejection is the end. And really just feel like you belong in the music industry. Feel like that is your space. Like, don't feel like you're not the right kind of person to work in music or like you need to be a certain way. Because I think that there is a certain narrative about the music industry and certain other creative industries that you have to be a certain type of person. But I think for like stuff like events, what matters the most? And I think where I started seeing more success in my career was just building my confidence and feeling like I am meant to be in the space. I do have the experience and the knowledge. And I think, yeah, like confidence is a really important thing. And it can be as simple as like sending people an email or like chasing them on an email, especially when it comes to artists. You will quickly find that they do not respond to the first email that you send. So just like having the confidence to like really not necessarily be annoying, but like be persistent. And I would also say, like, really think about where your strengths lie. Like, you might be not very good at certain things, but very good at others. And like, oh, my cat is eating something. Um, but yeah, you might be like not very good at, maybe being on stage, but you're really good at kind of coordinating things behind the scenes. Like, really take a kind of catalogue of like the skills that you think you have, and think about where that kind of puts you. Because I think, yeah, for me, I think stuff like time management and like really paying attention to what's going on, like making to-do lists, just being organized is a huge part of my role because you can't let things slip through the cracks when you're organizing events. And I think if you know that you're someone good at time management, then events could be for you. But if you think, oh, I often forget to do things, then maybe there's a different role that is a bit more flexible and allows you that kind of adaptability that events might not. So yeah, just think about what your strengths are and kind of build on that.
Absolutely, and I think that's so true. Lean into what you have, your natural affinities. Don't try and make yourself someone that you're not, or just take time, be patient if you are trying to develop a skill that you don't naturally have. And your experience with Fem Festival, because you got funding for that from Youth Music, which is amazing. So that is something, if someone does want to gain experience in events, I guess they could go apply for the same fund. But also, I guess, what is your advice to the young people watching to be prepared for when it comes to what it's like organising an event by yourself for the first time?
I'm going to be honest with you. It was difficult. There were a lot of moments where I kind of thought about doing everything alone. The fact that I was doing everything alone, and I was like, this is really hard, and I would like it if there was someone else. But I think what has made my life easier since, like, because I planned essentially to give you an idea of the structure of FEMMESTIVAL. The event that I got funded for was an all-day festival and it involved 10 artists and DJs, three workshops, and several other moving parts. And what helped me was that I kind of tapped into the community and like the kind of the skills of other people around me. And that meant that I didn't have to do everything necessarily. I could focus on what I was good at, and then I could really like reach out to friends, family, like people who were willing to do me a favor, who I didn't even know, but who really supported the mission. And I actually think that when you are really like earnest about someone and really transparent and honest and saying like I might not have loads of budget right now. I might not have you know, I'm not famous or anything, but one day I might be. But just like saying like really being honest and presenting yourself and when people feel that honesty and authenticity, I think that they will be willing to help you. And I think that yeah, don't let anyone put you off doing what you think is worth doing because someone else is going to think that's worth doing. And that's something that I really had to come to terms with when I got the funding was like I thought that I would be the only person to believe in this idea. But then Youth Music came through with the funding and they said, we really love your idea. We want to fund it. And so I thought someone else does believe in that. And I kind of want other people to take that away as well. Like, even though you might think you're the only person that's going to believe in your idea, there is going to be someone else out there, maybe even hundreds of people out there who believe in it. So don't give up and really tap into those other people and your connections because they will support you.
Absolutely. And I think also the fact that your Fem Festival had a mission behind it, had a purpose kind of thing as well. It's much easier for people to say yes to something that they know is going to do good. And also, like, what an amazing thing to, I guess, kick off your events career. Like, you've literally just organized an entire thing by yourself. Like, that's unbelievable. So the
Thank you.
that is insane. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And I implore young people watching, if they want to kind of, I guess, get their foot in the door of the music industry, go do something on a much smaller scale. You know, go do
That's true.
an
It doesn't
hour.
have to be an all-day festival. It
Yeah,
can be a concert in your local area, but just whatever feels suitable for you.
exactly. And call upon those friends and family to help out. Um, Oh my gosh, Talia, that's all we've got time for. Thank you so much for joining us. That's been really enlightening. So interesting to know your background and well done, all your confidence. I love it. Yeah, just go out and get it done. That's what people need to do. You've been fantastic. Thank you. Um,
You and yeah, reach out via email if you want to chat.
yes, and we've got all the youth music stuff in all the links in the spreadsheet that I shared with everyone. So guys, don't you worry, you'll be able to find that. Thank you so much. I am now going to make you an attendee and we're going to bring in the next speaker.
Cool, thank you.